If everybody could please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Good evening, staff, parents, and the class of 2020. One word sums up this ceremony: finally. We are finally able to celebrate the class of 2020. Let's give a round of applause for this exceptional class. The class of 2020 is full of personality, laughter, love, happiness, character, and integrity. This class will produce engineers, doctors, teachers, and mechanics. The spirit of the class of 2020 will live on in the AGCS community for years to come, with each of you leaving your own stamp on charter. For that, I thank you. I can speak for the entire staff when I say we have been humbled to watch you grow the past 4 years. We will miss you, but we are confident that each of you are ready to take the next step in your lives. Now let's start from the beginning. Some of you are receiving your diploma today after 13 years here at AGCS. This place, yeah, we can give a round of applause for that. This place not only taught you how to read and write, but it also provided memories that will live in your hearts and minds for years to come. My hope is that those memories bring you happiness and laughter as you transition into college, the military, or workforce. Each of you has been a cornerstone of the school community and have left your mark on your teachers and your peers. Please know that your AGCS family will be here to support you whenever we are needed. I will leave you with this: your past mistakes, successes, and lessons learned will act as a cornerstone for the decisions you make in the future. For others, you started in middle school. I am sure you have fond memories of Miss Burnett's science class or Miss Durr's history class, Miss Lyons-Baum's Leos, or Miss Dixon's Kind Heart, the New York City field trip, Hershey Park, or 8th grade graduation. Not sure if any of you remember, but during the 8th grade graduation, I asked that you think of high school as a track meet. Well, in about 30 minutes, that race will end and you will cross the finish line. My hope is that the last 5 or 6 years here at AGCS have been memorable. I hope that AGCS has helped you find your passion. As I just stated to my AGCS lifers, remember, your past mistakes, successes, and lessons learned will act as a cornerstone for the decisions you make in the future. A small number of you joined our pack in high school. During this time, we have celebrated several awards for academic excellence, completed hundreds of hours of community service for our local community. We have enjoyed fall plays, spring musicals, homecoming dances, mini-thon, academic competitions, Odyssey of the Mind events, Arts Fest, dance performances, yearbook club, and our first sports championship. Shout out to the boys soccer team. Way to go, fellas. For those students that have joined us for high school, I hope that you see AGCS as an accepting community. I hope you found teachers that you can now call friends. I hope that high school will be a part of your life that makes you smile in the future. I am saying this for the third time, but I believe it pertains to everyone. Remember that your past mistakes, successes, and lessons learned will act as a cornerstone for the decisions you make in the future. At this point, you're probably thinking, why in the heck do you keep on saying that your past mistakes, successes, and lessons learned will act as a cornerstone for the decisions we make in the future? I keep saying that because for the past 13 years, that is what we, as educators, have been trying to teach you. Regardless of the content, teacher, or grade, the end goal prior to graduating high school is for each of you to have the ability to make sound decisions. Now, the key word there is ability. For the final time, I need you to put your phone away and let me break this down for you. Let's start with mistakes. We already know everybody makes them. This isn't going to change. You will continue to make them, but the key will be accepting those mistakes and showing ownership when you make them. Think about your most recent mistake. Have you shown ownership for that mistake? I know each of you has the ability, key word, to show ownership. The question is, will you use that ability? Now we come to successes. Once again, we will experience these. Some big, others small, but successes are similar to mistakes. We will experience successes in life, but the key here is the ability, key word again, to see these successes. Many times, your successes won't be recognized or acknowledged by others. You will not have a rubric or a checklist to ensure you're successful. As an adult, you will need to find the silver lining. You will need to celebrate your successes, whether that's graduating from college or getting your first apartment. Be proud of your accomplishments and celebrate them as often as possible. Finally, we come to lessons learned. This is a tough one because it takes self-reflection to understand or infer the lessons learned after an experience. I know that throughout high school, you had to infer quite often, so once again, I know that the ability is there. The difficult part is accepting a lesson learned when the outcome has a negative impact or consequence. As an adult, lessons learned may cost you financially, affect relationships, or set you back. But if you learn from them, the value is priceless. Mistakes, successes, lessons learned. Let those 4 words guide you. Now that I have provided my words of wisdom, let's talk Jacob Rockoff. This young man asked if I would get an AGCS Class of 2020 tattoo if he raised $10,000 for pediatric cancer. I agreed, but needless to say, he came up about $9,000 short. However, to show my appreciation, I have a gift for the Class of 2020. You guys ready? It's coming. Now, you guys don't actually think that's real, do you? Pretend the tattoo is like Santa Claus. It's your choice whether to believe it. Now let me wrap this up so we can get this show on the road. At 18 years old, you have some life experience. Each of you have now conquered high school and are staring adulthood in the face. In society, and maybe in your own minds, you see yourself as adults. But before I let you go, I need to humble each of you for a second. As much as the world is telling you that you need to now grow up and figure it all out, that simply isn't true. The truth is, you're still kids. Your philosophies, perspectives, and experiences will drastically change over the next 4 years. Please take your time. You don't need to rush into the crazy land of bills and mortgages. Be positive, accountable, confident, and kind, while letting the kid in you shine. Good luck, and know that I'll always be proud to call the class of 2020 my first graduating class at AGCS. Love you, and we'll miss you guys more than you know.
Good evening. I'm Adrienne Basilio. I'm the 11th and 12th grade school counselor, and I have the privilege of having known your students since 10th grade, and they are amazing, and I am going to miss you guys so much next year. We are going to announce scholarships that we give out at graduation, but before I do, I want to say that this class in particular, our students were offered by colleges and universities almost $1.5 million in scholarships and grants, so let's give an applause for that. That's the most since I've been at AGCS. So very proud of you guys. The first scholarship is usually given out by Mr. Zabo. Unfortunately, he could not be here tonight. So this is the Avon Grove Charter School Art Scholarship. One of the great strengths of Avon Grove Charter School has always been our visual arts program. Each year, AGCS graduates many skilled artists who leave our department with some of the most creative, and technically precise work imaginable. This scholarship awards 2 students who have maintained an impressive level of dedication and discipline in the arts throughout all 4 years of high school. Please join us in recognizing Emily McDermott and Happy Jalori. Come on up. And you just walk on. Yep, just walk right around. And now Mr. McGeehan will come up and do our next scholarship.
Good evening. For many years, AGCS has excelled in academics, music, and arts. The past few years, we've worked hard at creating another area of excellence within our school community through an interscholastic athletics program. The Booster Club has taken notice and is gracious enough to honor and recognize a senior athlete who not only has had success on the playing field, but success as a teammate, a leader, and as a representative of the Avon Grove Charter School. Being a student athlete is not easy. It takes passion, dedication, and great time management skills. This athletic scholarship is awarded to a senior who accomplished those skills, who led with action, and who achieved great success on the soccer field as he captained our team to AGCS's first ever sports championship this past fall. This individual led the team with 28 goals scored this past season and was named as a Mid-Atlantic Independent League first team member. Please join us in recognizing Jacob Kerstetter as this year's recipient of the AGCS Athletic Scholarship.
Character Scholarship. Each year, our faculty has the honor of working with many students who possess some of the highest and most important characteristics we can hope to find in well-rounded citizens. However, through the AGCS Character Scholarship, AGCS seeks to honor 1 male and 1 female student from the graduating class with an unusually strong commitment to positive principles, oh no, and values. Is it me? I feel like it might be me. These students are confidants, peer coaches, mediators, and clear leaders. Their maturity and integrity has served to strengthen our AGCS community, and we are very proud to acknowledge Allie McKinney and Joey DeJoseph as this year's Charter Scholarship recipients. PTO Spirit Scholarship. The recipient of the AGCS Spirit Scholarship will be an individual who gives generously of his or her time or energy to promote a positive school environment and works to build a sense of community spirit among his or her peers. At this point, I would like to recognize Maggie Degler as this year's PTO Spirit Scholarship winner. Our Community Service Scholarship. The Avon Charter School has, since its inception, stressed the importance of responsibility that all of us have to the larger community. In a world in which the influence of materialism and consumerism can often seem overwhelming, it is encouraging to recognize that our AGCS students have dedicated themselves to serving others in a wide variety of important ways. The AGCS Community Service Scholarship was designed to acknowledge the community service work of a student who has exceeded his or her required volunteer hours and has demonstrated a deep and genuine commitment to the welfare of others. At this point, with 712 volunteer hours, woohoo, I would like to recognize Hallie Tarazowitz as our scholarship winner. Congrats, Hallie. The Rachel Carson Conservation Scholarship. Rachel Carson was a Pennsylvania native who challenged the scientific establishment to re-examine the use of deadly chemical pesticide, DDT, with painstakingly collected evidence of the environmental harm caused by this powerful chemical. Her book, Silent Spring, brought about some very positive and far-reaching environmental change. However, Ms. Carson also spent years enduring lawsuits, threats, and personal attacks because she represented a real challenge to the scientific establishment. The Carson Conservation Award, which acknowledges the work of a student with extremely strong environmental principles and a commitment to making a positive ecological change through applied science. This year's winner is Jordan Cross. Congrats, Jordan. Throughout the course of our school's history, Avon Charter School has developed business relationships with a number of companies and service providers. For the most part, most of these business relationships are little more than simple exchanges of goods and services. However, our school's health benefits brokerage, the Weiner Group, has for many years now made commitment to the Avon Charter School graduates. It's truly unique and very meaningful. The mission statement of the Weiner Group emphasizes the company's commitment to fostering cooperation and growth and recognizing clients as the company's most important assets. The Weiner Group scholarships are perhaps the best expression of the company's commitment to putting its laudable corporate values into action. The Weiner scholarships are now an annual tradition at Avon Charter School, and we will recognize the accomplishments of 2 graduating seniors in good standing with an interest in pursuing on or going on for their education in business-related fields. At this time, we would like to present the Weiner scholarships to Nick King and Kendall Ludwig. Congrats, Nick. The Leader of the Pack Scholarship. The Leader of the Pack Scholarship is an initiative developed by the AGCS School Counseling Department to recognize the importance of determination, dedication, and drive. Students that were invited to apply for this scholarship had to be attending a 4-year college or university, community college, or technical school in the fall of 2020. They must have had at least a 3.0, grade point average, no disciplinary issues, and not had more than 3 unexcused absences or 5 unexcused tardies to school. To apply, they had to write a personal statement that answered several questions, including talking about their leadership roles that they've held, in or out of school, their academic strengths and weaknesses, and their college and career choices. These personal statements were reviewed and voted on by the entire school counseling department, K through 12, and upper school administration. And we're very proud to announce our winner of the Leader of the Pack Scholarship to Gemma Rayner. This year, the AGCS Microfarm Scholarship Award will be awarded to a student for her work on the microfarm for the past 6 years. She has gone above and beyond in respect to the microfarm's growth and operations. The list of things that she was instrumental in doing for the farm is far too lengthy, but here are just a few of her many accomplishments. She took charge of the farm chickens. She made sure they had proper chicken coop to keep them safe, bedding, feed, nesting boxes, and water. She was also in charge of incubating chicken eggs in the spring, which younger students got the thrill of watching. She's become very knowledgeable in recognizing sick animals, which she would nurse back to help with the proper care and medications. She and her crew of friends would work over the summer months as interns and would tackle any chore that Mr. Bill gave them. They were instrumental in the construction of the greenhouses, the raised bed gardens, as well as the landscaping around the pond and other farm areas. During the summer months when school was out, she worked each summer as a farm intern, and she was totally in charge of care and feeding all the farm animals. This year, she was able to get 2 alpacas donated to the school from the local farm. Her true passion was taking care of newborn lambs, baby goats, rabbits, and chickens, all of which she had a hand in bringing into this world. This student did it all. Mr. Bill could count on her to do anything from mucking out stalls to summer water balloon fights with the other interns. Mr. Bill is very happy to award our Microfarm Scholarship, and we are proud to award, to Gail Santucci. Congrats, Gail. At this time, I'd like to invite Kristen Bishop to help present the Logan Hugh Camara Memorial Scholarship.
Hi, so I don't have a speech prepared for this award. Megan Kammerer, our kindergarten teacher, wanted to be here tonight and couldn't make it and asked me last minute to present this award, but I will say to you, this speaks to what we spoke about earlier before graduation started about us being family and us taking care of each other and being the intimate school where whether we have joy and we celebrate something or whether we have tragedy, we come together and support each other. So Megan Kammerer lost her son, Logan Hugh, who was 1 year old almost. He was 2 weeks shy of being 1 year old. And it was probably the most tragic thing I've ever seen happen here at Avon Grove Charter School to a teacher. In that tragedy, she really wanted to give back to this school community that embraced her and our Avon Grove Charter School family that supported her family through this tragedy. So Megan, along with her husband and her mom and dad, decided to give a scholarship for at least the next 10 years. So this is the second graduation that will be presented for the Logan Hugh Memorial Award. This award goes to a pre-med student or it goes to a student pursuing education. Obviously, the medical and police were a very integral part of this situation, and so she wanted to really reflect on essays where students were committed to being kind and giving back to society in the medical field. So I think there was about 10 essays. I think there was about 10 essays that were written for this award. And it was very hard to pick. She really struggled with her husband to pick the right student for this award. This student is very involved in our school. She is always looking to give back. She is a pre-med major, and she's going to Millersville. And this award is going to Kayla Taylor. Congratulations. Okay. Next up, we have a teacher presentation speaker who the students vote for. So I always love to see who's chosen because it means that this teacher really spoke to the class and had a special relationship. So the teacher that's presenting this year is Dylan Pennell. Mr. Pennell.
Good afternoon. Congratulations to the graduating class of 2020. I come to you today in the midst of strange and uncertain times. And though the unease of this day, both personally, socially, and politically, might resonate more loudly than whatever comfort you might take in your accomplishments, I would ask that you take a moment now to remind yourself of the effort that amounted to this day. I will say that I don't think anyone would have chosen me up chosen me to be up here speaking were they in the mood for vague platitudes and cheerleading. So I want to come to you today with a very different message for you to carry to posterity. One of responsibility, humility, and kindness. As this year wears on and the state of the world looks more and more peculiar, it's more necessary than ever for each of you to recognize and live up to the responsibilities of being a global citizen in 2020. The pride and irresponsibility of the human race has taught us to value profit over people, convenience over health, and ourselves over our planet. But this cannot be the case anymore. Is this fair to you? By no means. But we cannot let the greed of humanity's past write the future, and we cannot continue to pass off problem solving to the next generation. If 2020 has imparted anything to us, it's that trying to hang on to our old ways simply won't cut it. As much as we want to claim that we play no part in racial injustice, the evidence of our lives and livelihood often suggests otherwise. As much as we might want to throw caution to the wind and enjoy our summer, the pandemic is forcing us to be considerate of one another. And as convenient as it might be to live in disbelief of climate change, that's no longer a hand we can afford to play. You must be prepared to enter an age of action and intelligence and do the work to educate yourselves. The work to fight the oppressive pressures that tell you that fighting isn't worth it, that there's only a single path to success, that life is a series of clearly outlined steps, and that things are this way simply because they have always been this way. Whatever prescribed image of contentedness you have, I would encourage you to defy it in favor of what happiness might mean to you. However, more than anything else, I have to take this time to express the abject necessity of kindness and humility. Our ability to swallow our pride and accept that everyone deserves tenderness and everyone deserves love, especially from our own selves. As if there aren't enough voices criticizing us already, there's no need to add your own voice to that particular chorus. Now, before I wrap this up, I want to share one brief anecdote with you regarding this class to hopefully cement my points. It was Black Friday of 2018, and I was spending time with a few friends home for the holiday. And at one point in the evening, apropos to nothing, an old friend turned to me and asked, "So Dylan, how are the kids this year?" And at that moment, I did something I don't often do. I melted a little. And I looked at him and I said, "They're just the sweetest people." I share that story now because I couldn't have meant it more. And I want you to go out into your postgraduate lives and retain that sweetness, that openness. I couldn't be happier that this particular group of people are graduating this year because the world needs your charisma, your compassion, your cleverness, and your humor more than ever. And I'm glad to see you set out to help us all understand how to be better. And it is with these sentiments in mind that I would like to once again congratulate the Avon Grove Charter School's graduating class of 2020 and wish you all the best of luck.
Please help me welcome our student speaker, Maggie Degler.
When the bell rang on March 12th, like every day before, I packed up my things and I made my way to my brightly decorated parking spot. I distinctly remember these moments. Walking down the hallway, saying goodbye to teachers, fighting my way through a crowd of little kids trying to catch their bus. I saw the musical kids lingering by the auditorium, waiting to sing and dance. I noticed the lacrosse team geared up and ready for practice. It felt normal. Little did I know, normal would all too suddenly be, well, not normal. I didn't realize then, in those moments, it would be the last time that I, or any of us, would walk the halls of Charter again as students. For 13 years, I wondered what it would feel like to leave Charter for the last time through the same doors I entered as a kindergartner. Never did I guess it would feel like any other day normal. Why? Because AGCS isn't a normal school. People ask me all the time, why do you even go to a charter school? And I'll tell you what I tell them. Charter is like a family. For those of you who remember Charter before ELC was open, all of us rode the bus with the high schoolers. My mom will tell you the story of her anxiety of putting a kindergartner on the bus with a bunch of teenagers. The front office assured her, "Don't worry, our high schoolers always look out for the younger kids." And sure enough, they did. Just like our teachers looked out for us every day of the year. The kindness, creativity, and encouragement of all of our teachers and staff have shaped us into who we are today. This is part of the AGCS spirit that each of us will carry into the world beyond State Road. The AGCS spirit is also rooted in ingenuity. In my experience, no one ever really said no very often. Instead, teachers and administrators said, "Figure it out." For example, Miss Bishop, the Leo Club wants to fill a tractor trailer full of diapers and supplies to send to flood victims in Houston. We think the news might want to come as well. "Okay," she said, "figure it out and let me know." And we did. Miss Fees, we think the school needs a business club. We have a plan. You in? "Okay," she said, "figure it out and I'll help you." And from there, charter chips were made, packaged, and sold. Mr. Zabo, Mr. June, we have an idea for a new sport offering called binder ball. Any objections? "Okay," they said, "figure it out." And the very first AGCS binder ball team was formed. Miss Dixon, I've always wanted to make the periodic table out of cupcakes. Can I do it for my sister's class? If you can figure out how, bring it in, she said. And they ate every last element. Mr. Bill, alpacas would be a great addition to our microfarm. Can we get some? Figure out why I should let you, he said. So we did. Now our 2 new alpacas exercise their natural instinct to protect the other farm animals while providing amazing fleece to the fiber arts class. And finally, a more personal example. In 10th grade, I unexpectedly had surgery on both my hips. Not only did it require me to be wheelchair bound for a couple months, it was also the beginning of my medical journey. For those who don't know me, that journey included 3 hip surgeries, 11 pins, and this past fall, 1 thyroidectomy because of medullary thyroid cancer. Yes, I'm a walking weather barometer. During these times, that same spirit of ingenuity, the never say no attitude, was alive and well. Starting from the very beginning, when my parents asked Dr. Maitland what they needed to do to help me transition back to school. He said, "Don't worry about a thing. We'll figure it out." From risers to my desk, to extra time for my friends to push me to classes, to many flexible schedules to accommodate doctor's appointments, AGCS was always there for me. Though my medical journey represents the hardest and most painful time in my life, it wasn't the most defining. Avon Grove Charter School receives that award. The kindness, creativity, encouragement, and ingenuity that my teachers, staff, and students showed to me and to one another has played a major role in defining who I am, what I know I'm capable of achieving, and my passion for making the most of anything life throws my way. Here we are, as a testament to our administration and staff, always being able to figure it out. Thank you for making graduation day a reality. Thank you for the endless efforts to make our small but mighty school stand tall and stand proud. To my teachers, thank you for caring about us and our future, for insisting on excellence even when we slacked off. And to my classmates, thank you for your friendship. We may not have ended our high school career as we planned, but I also know that these last weeks won't define us, because we have already defined ourselves through the kindness, creativity, encouragement, and ingenuity we show for one another, our school, and our community. After all, we're not referred to as the golden class for nothing. Though our miles and years may distance us, I will always consider you a part of my AGCS family forever. So thank you. And like they say at Chick-fil-A, it is our pleasure to have been a part of AGCS. Thank you.
All right. I don't know if you have a dry eye, but I'm not embarrassed from sobbing at Maggie Degler's speech. I don't want to follow Maggie Degler. I'm sorry, Christian, but just saying. So Christian Hesling is from the class of 2012, and I said it earlier that, you know, that's what I love, again, about this school, is that once you come here, you might come back after 4 years and graduate with an education degree. I've seen students sub that were graduates of our school and look for teaching jobs. We have graduates that are teachers now at our school, and now we have a graduate who works here at the Christian Life Center and was looking to figure it out. And so again, even after you graduate, don't think this is goodbye, because it's not. We'll see you again somewhere, somehow. I just never know how. So I'm happy to say Christian Hesling is here today, since he made this all possible, to speak to you as your commencement address. So come on up, Christian.
And I want to reiterate, thank you, Maggie. That was awesome. I feel like you guys don't need to hear anyone else speak to you today. You've probably heard enough. But I think I'm the last one between now and walking the stage. Are you guys ready to walk the stage? A little bit, okay. Well, first off, class of 2020, I want to congratulate you on the achievement of graduating in the middle of a pandemic. No one else here can say they've done that before. You guys have dibs on that, all right? And more importantly, I want to congratulate you for enduring Zoom for as long as you did. I don't know which one is like the bigger accomplishment between the two, but you guys conquered both, and that is why you're here, so congratulations. I'm so honored to be a part of your journey today and to share in this moment with you guys. As mentioned previously, I graduated from charter in 2012, and if you remember anything about 2012, that was the year the world was supposedly gonna end, right? Fast forward to 2020, and you guys really gave us a run for our money. Like, this year's been insane, right? And in all seriousness, I know that this was not a choice of your own, right? I'm almost confident that when you pictured senior year and graduation, this wasn't it. This wasn't it. It didn't include a pandemic intruding on your senior trip. It didn't include waiting until mid-July to actually graduate. And it did not include the painful reality of having not being able to have everyone here to celebrate with you today. And so in preparation for today, I was really grappling with the question, what on earth are you supposed to tell a group of young adults in the middle of a pandemic, aside from wash your hands, which I'm sure if you're here today, it's because you guys are already really good at doing that. What advice would aid you in your journey into this new season and this new territory that you enter? And I figured today that actually the best advice would be some of the lessons that we've already learned from pandemic thus far, from being in quarantine in the past few months. I figured they're not only very fitting for this experience, but they're fitting for life in general. And so to start, I want to share a story. I remember the image so vividly. The sun was incredibly bright. The snow and the wind were whipping all around. And the high altitude appeared to make it difficult for some to breathe. And you could see mountaintops for miles. The view atop Mount Everest was probably one of the most remarkable things that I've ever seen. And no, I've actually never climbed Mount Everest. I've just been watching a lot of YouTube videos about it in quarantine lately. I would highly recommend it. But you see, climbing mountains, quarantine, and life have a few things in common. Each carry their fair share of unpredictable turns, new unexplored territories, and experiences and factors that are simply well beyond your control. Woo! So exciting, right? Each can provoke great fear, great anxiety, and great courage in all of us. And the difficult part is that you can never fully prepare for life's mountains and pandemics. But there are some things that you can do to better equip yourself for these seasons, things that you can do to journey well, and I hope to share a couple of those things with you today. Should take about 45 minutes, okay? I'm kidding, goodness gracious. The first point, find your people. It takes most people approximately 2 months to climb Mount Everest from the base camp to the summit. And again, I don't know by experience, but by YouTube, all right? You have your guides who help you on the journey, and your fellow climbers all supporting and pushing you as you seek to climb the summit, okay? That's about the same length of time that most counties in Pennsylvania were on total lockdown. So, like those who climb Mount Everest, many of us know what it's like to see the same people for 2 months straight. For many of us, the thing that may have really defined our quarantine thus far were the people around us, right? Or lack thereof. Hence why it's so important that we find our people. Like mountain climbs in quarantine, life is so unpredictable. We don't always know what is next, but what we do know is that we need each other to get through it, to come out on top. We need people who can lead us into uncharted territory. We need people to give us courage when we are fearful. In a world of great dishonesty and hidden agendas, we need people who can be brutally honest with us, even if it hurts. We need people who know us deeply in all of our brokenness and love us the same. And my favorite, we need people who will split a whole pizza with us just so we can vent about life. Most importantly, we need people who have our best interests in mind, people who want us more than anything to reach the mountaintop. And I don't begin to suggest that these people will be perfect or that, you won't see some of their flaws and you will always see eye to eye. That won't always be the case. And that is okay. I simply suggest that a large part of our experiences and our successes are a byproduct of who is within our inner circle. So as many of you enter the workforce, college, the service, and more Zoom calls, which I know you're so excited about, be ever so diligent to find your people. Know good community, because good community does not happen by accident, it's cultivated. That's the first thing to do to journey well. The second thing is this, and my personal favorite, give yourself permission to fail. And your principal was saying this earlier, so make sure you listen the second time around. Give yourself permission to fail. I want to dare you guys, and this is really hard, especially if you're perfectionists like me. Give yourself permission to fail. If you look all around the world during the quarantine, there have been many moments when people have had to re-innovate, recreate themselves, their procedures, their habits, their routines, and yes, their graduations, right? And in many cases, people have failed. They've had to rework the process again and again until they got it right. And some failure bears minor impacts, right? Like if you go on TikTok, you see all the hair fails, right? The hairstyles and the haircuts. Hilarious. I encourage you to carve out an hour of time because that's how long it takes to get through those. And then the Zoom fails, right? We've seen a lot of those too. They bear minor impacts. I recall a time when I was in Miss Stella's U.S. government class, senior year of high school. That was awesome, and I was running for president in the class, so it was very awesome to have your whole senior class vote between you and someone else for some imaginary presidential position, and then losing, right? Then there are some more failures, however, that do bear a bit more impact. And that's why they train people who are climbing Mount Everest to reduce the probability of failure, since the consequences of such failure can be dire. Most all failure, regardless of outcome, is a natural byproduct of innovation and exploration and life itself. And it's ironic because you are all sitting here today because you've succeeded. You've done it. You're here celebrating this monumental moment, right? However, life is going to teach all of us that it is not void of failure. You will fail. You won't always get everything right. Things won't always go according to plan. You won't know all of the answers. And after working so hard, there's a chance that you may not get the job you want, the raise you're looking for, or your first pick of colleges. And guess what? That's okay. You are more than your failures, and you are in good company, because I feel like we can all resonate with that today. So, if failure is inevitable, then it makes sense that we give ourselves permission to fail. So when it happens, give yourself grace. Let the inner critic subside. When it happens, really embrace it as an opportunity to learn and grow. And when it happens, find your people to work through it with you. Philosopher Confucius says it this way: our greatest glory is not in never falling down, but rather in rising every time we fall. And another deep thinker and musician says it this way: nobody's perfect. I gotta work it again and again till I get it right. Yes, that's Hannah Montana. I'm sorry, I won't quote her again today. The task before us is to give ourselves permission to fail. Embrace such moments as opportunities to learn and work at it again and again until we get it right. And I promise you, you are not alone in the process. That's the second thing we can do to journey well. And this third thing, I have to admit it right from the get-go, it's the most cliche sounding of the three, and so I'm kind of ashamed about that, so I apologize in advance. But the third thing is this: to journey well, define your purpose. Define your purpose. The dictionary defines purpose as the reason for which something exists or is done. The reason for which something exists or for which something is done. And so, you know, cars exist to get you from point A to point B, right? Phones exist to keep us connected. Per their mission statements, Wawa exists to fulfill lives every day. And boy, do they fulfill my life. And lastly, Avon Grove Charter School exists to inspire passion for lifelong learning, one student at a time. These are examples of defining purpose. And it's been fascinating because it appears that this quarantine in some ways has forced many in our nation to wrestle with questions of purpose, including what matters most in life. Is it our jobs, our families, our accomplishments, our routines? Is our normal way of life, rushing from one thing to the next, just trying to keep up, really normal? Is that the best we can be? Why do I spend my time, our money, and our energies the way that we do? And these are really important questions to ask, and this is why. You're about to all launch into the next phase of life. And you have so much potential to earn as much money, accolades, knowledge, and success that you possibly can. But there's one thing that you cannot earn more of no matter how hard you try, and that's time. Time is a limited commodity. Defining our purpose and asking why enables us to live intentionally and to make the best use of our gifts, our time, and our resources. So we should all be diligent to ask these questions. Why am I pursuing this career option? Is this where I find my greatest joy? Why am I interested in this program, this school, and this field? What is it that I hope to accomplish? And why is it that I want to pursue this path, and is it worth the time? Our ability to answer these questions, to define the reason for our chasing after these things with everything we have, enables us to live on purpose and to spend our limited time wisely. In defining our purpose, however, we have to be careful, okay? I think too often we're tempted to define a purpose that only has in mind our end destination, where we want to end up, while neglecting the journey itself. I mentioned earlier that it takes most people about 2 months to get from the base summit, or the base to the summit of Mount Everest. But did you know, however, that most people stay on the summit for about 10 to 15 minutes? It's not a lot of time, 10 to 15 minutes. They plan on 10 to 15 minutes to ensure that they have enough time to descend before nightfall. That's approximately 60 days of training and travel for 10 to 15 minutes on the summit. And you have to think to yourself, maybe the purpose of the expedition wasn't solely for that summit experience, but maybe it was for everything in between. And I'm sure if you ask people who have climbed Mount Everest, I'm not included in that, I just watched it on YouTube. If you ask people who have climbed Mount Everest what their experience is like, I'm sure they'd mention the summit, but I'm also very sure that they would mention all the hurdles and the obstacles and everything that they had to jump over to make it to that summit experience. What you may remember most about your high school career may not be the destination, this ceremony, and it most likely won't be this speech. Rather, when you look back, you may often recall the friendships that were cultivated here, the lessons you've learned, the hurdles, obstacles, projects that you've conquered to make this moment possible. When I look back on my time at Charter, sure, I remember the graduation, but more often than not, I remember growing passionate about art, hating but appreciating Mr. Stone's math tests as they made me a better and more confident test taker, Mrs. Smith greeting all the students every morning as they entered the school building, and I recall making a friend on the first day of 9th grade and marrying her 8 years later. All of this took place in the regular, mundane routines of life, which make up about 99% of our time. So define your purpose. That includes the journey, mundane as it may be. And as you pursue whatever is next, remain diligent in defining why it is you do the things you do, attend the school you attend, work the job you work, and engage in the activities you engage in. Define a purpose that encompasses the journey. In doing so, you'll be making great use of the limited commodity that we all share together, and that's time. Poet and playwright Oscar Wilde sums up this invitation to live intentionally very poignantly. He says, "To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, and that is all." Defining our purpose invites us to live well, to journey well, and I can't think of anything more that your teachers and your parents want for you but to journey well. And don't worry, you do not have to do this last task on your own. Invite your people into the process to help define your purpose. And guess what? You will probably fail once or twice. That is okay. Revisit it and try it again. And so I'm going to wrap this up now because I'm sure you guys are ready to walk the stage and then go home to have your social distance celebrations. I want to leave you with this. Life is a wild, unpredictable journey that's riddled with great beauty and great pain, joy and mourning, celebrations and pandemics. Like a climb up Everest and like a 60-day lockdown in a house with your family, it could be super awesome or not. It could be crazy, unpredictable, exciting, perhaps frustrating, challenging, edifying, and hopefully memorable. I think I can speak on behalf of Avon Grove Charter, your teachers, and your families. Our deepest hope for you and this journey that we call life is that you journey well, that you reach the summit, and that you might not only continue on to greater and better things, but that you might be able to partake in creating a greater and better world. Find your people. Give yourself permission to fail. And define your purpose. These are the tools for the journey. Oh, shoot, I almost forgot. And never, ever forget to wash your hands. Class of 2020, congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
So for the first time since early March, I give you the Avon Grove Charter School Choir Seniors.
AGCS, join the crowd, be loud and proud of what's to come.
Joining us for our performance of Rise on the piano, Senior Lewis R. Scott.
I'll fight it, I will transform. When the fire's at my feet again, and the vultures all start circling, they're whispering, you're out of time, but still I rise. This is no mistake, no accident. just fight it. Don't be surprised, I will still rise.
Good evening, everyone. We're now going to begin the ceremony for the awarding of diplomas to the class of 2020. Andrew Ahern. Joseph Matthew Anzalone. Louis Arscott. Dylan Todd Barlow. Samer Badir. Fiona Rowan Brady. Jacob A. Bryan. Loriana Carlisle. Evan James Clark. Zachary Thomas Collins. Angeline Laurel Cornett. Robert Mercer Cosgrove. Jordan Cross. Caitlin E. Cruiser. Krista Joy Jan D'Amico. Nico P. Diapolito. Margaret Ann Degler. Alberto John de la Cerda. Kylie B. Delp. Roman Diaz. Giovanni Pascal De Joseph. Jeremy Tyler De Sabato. Lyra Rose Dunsky. Olivia Paige Edwards. Patrick Englerth. Matthew G. Fisher. Benjamin A. Fromeyer. Brian Gaspar. Kayla A. Greto. Danielle Nicole Greist. Nathan Grisenda.
Congratulations, friend.
Macklind Ha. Tyler Bryce Herzog. Lauren Nora Hinfey. Dominic Rusty I.R. Holton. James Hunn. Connor Joseph Ionescu.
See you, Michael.
Aurepriya Jalori. Matthew James Norton Joe. Margaret Johnston. Jacob Ryan Kerstetter. Nicholas Raymond King. Nathaniel Lewis Tan Krynock. Sarah Catherine Lacour. Dylan Joseph Lott. Kendall Nicole Ludwig. Emily Florence McDermott. Alexandra Marie McKinney. Joseph A. Milai. Adam Mendenhall. Brianna Miller. Olivia Mazzillo Dibert. Michael Ness. Shane
Good on me, lad.
Anderson Nieves. Reagan O'Brien. Sadie Therese Patterson. Leah Mariana Pierno. Michael Daniel Ramirez. Gemma Marie Rayner. Chloe Hope Hoping Rapp. Sarah Nicole Redmile. Takira Robinson. Allison Michaela Roby. Maya Annette Rochester. Jacob Rich Rockoff. Jaslyn J. Roman. Abigail Rose Santucci. Shamar Isaiah Scott.
Congrats, Maya.
Christine Anna Searle.
Nice job, Rockoff.
Kayla R. Svetkov.
Congratulations, Jacqueline.
Grace Ann Smith. Jacob J. Snar. Cameron Rose Stockhart. Jerry Joseph Sylvester. Madison Marie Sylvester. Hallie Rose Torazowitz.
Congratulations, Maya.
Kayla Marie Taylor. Ryan Craig Thompson. Thomas Daniel Troutman II.
Congrats, Jerry.
Divinity Salam Warren. Jeremy Weaver. Maxwell J. Weiser. Emery I. Whiteman.
Congrats, Tom.
Carter Hendrickson Wilkins. Alexander J.
Congrats, Divinity.
Wilson. Omar Zavala Duran. Harrison Zern.
Good job, Emery.
All right, we're almost there. So there will be a class of 2020 video that Mr. Alders put together. Will be on our YouTube channel tonight. So please, when you guys get home, check that out. He's put a lot of time and hard work into that, so I think it's something everybody will appreciate. So I want to take a minute to acknowledge a man who has given 15 years of his life to the school community. He has had several titles and filled many voids. He is the definition of team player and the type of individual that anyone will want to call a friend. Over the past 5 years, he taught me how to put things into perspective. He modeled how to be a father when I was just learning the ropes. And he was always there to listen when I needed to vent. As he ventures into the next phase of his life with all of you, I want him to know that his dedication to this school community is appreciated and will always be remembered. Thank you, Mr. Delphin, for all that you have done for the students, the staff, and for me.
All right, Justin!
Thank you. 15 years I haven't cried, and tonight, it's not about me. I want to thank AGCS for 15 years of family, because that's what it's about, and it's about you, the students. People ask me the why. Why? It's you, the students, the future. and everything that you have, that you've grown into, young women, young men, it's about you. And this class of 2020 is amazing. Their sense of humor, their work ethic, their positive attitude through this whole crazy world that we are now living in. I can't express enough of how you've grown, and I can't thank you enough. But I'm not going to take up too much time, that's it. I want to thank you. I want to thank AGCS. And I'm so happy for you guys. Congratulations. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Love you, and good luck in your future. And I'm sure everywhere you go, the cafeteria will be yum, yum.
So I wanted to just take one moment. Mrs. Joyce, Joyce, where is she? Come on over here, Joyce. Joyce Smith. Joyce Smith, she puts together graduation for us. And I have to tell you, when we talked about graduation outside, we had a meeting here in the parking lot, and we described the vision, and somehow she just makes it happen. She's like the mommy magic that just makes the party happen. So, and today is her birthday of all things. So let's wish Miss Joyce Smith a happy birthday and a very thank you for all of this that happened today. Thank you, Mrs. Smith. She really is the mommy bear of the senior class. So I'm very proud of her. Thank you so much, Mrs. Smith. All right. All right, so here we go. It is time. Let me find you. Okay. All right, here we go. Seniors, please rise. By the power vested by the state of Pennsylvania, I pronounce you the Avon Grove Charter School High School Class of 2020 graduates. You may now move your tassels, and congratulations! Woo! Class of 2020!